Hey y'all, I'm Eli Adams from Lost Terrain, and I'm just an absolute lover of all things outdoors. So I am so excited to be sitting here with one of my favorite people, an absolute epic guide here in the Blue Ridge Mountains, Brooks Coker. So Brooks is leading an awesome intro to backpacking trip this September here in the near Asheville, Blue Ridge Mountains, with an incredible outfitting company that I do a lot of work for and tend to work for, Blue Ridge Hiking Company. And if you're new to backpacking or just haven't been on the trail in a while, this trip is absolutely made for you. It's all about learning the basics, building confidence, and overall having a great time in these epic biodiverse forests that we are so blessed to be surrounded by. We're chatting in a beautiful, historic West Asheville home. We're quite literally surrounded by layers of the Blue Ridge Mountains, and the recent rains that have been coming through all week, which has been terrible for the tourists that have come to visit this week, but the rains have left our trails absolutely lush and just feeling like a pure paradise. I can tell you that the trails that I've been on recently have had tons of mushrooms popping up everywhere. The warblers are just singing their hearts out. I mean, it's been pretty epic summer for us, for sure.
It's less epic when you're hiking down the tower at Catawba Falls in a thunderstorm, but it's been an epic summer.
Yeah, yes. I got to do a waterfall hike this week that the water or the rain added to the magnificence, but we weren't trying to go down something that was equivalent to 30 staircases of stairs. So heard about that trip for you, and I'm very sorry. Brooks, before we get into details of this intro to backpacking trip, I want to know what guiding in the mountains, or these specific mountains here at the Blue Ridge, what is it that keeps you coming back?
To keep it short, there's no other place like this in the world, and there's no other place I'd want to live in the country for sure. Just the accessibility and then the unique beauty that these mountains have to offer. You can get up to 6,000 feet in elevation and still be able to see. It's very unique to be able to see into other states, to still be around vegetation and biodiversity. Yeah, if you're thinking of coming here, yes. If you're thinking of staying a week or more or forever, the answer is yes.
Mm-hmm. Also, yes. Yes. I'd love to start by just kind of hearing your journey into the outdoors. You are from the Ozark Mountains of Arkansas, correct? What challenges and moments of doubt did you face when you first started out in the outdoors? Talk to me about beginner Brooks.
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough one because I just was sent to summer camp as a child, So my challenges were my sleeping bag is itchy, oh, I don't know if I'm going to like what's for dinner.
Yeah.
Or oh, I didn't pack enough underwear and now I'm soggy for the rest of the week kind of deal. So it was very physical challenges and also a lot out of my comfort zone that it wasn't really enjoyable at first.
Yeah. So the summer camps, do you feel like that you left with confidence, or did you leave with more of what you didn't like about camping? Because that's a common experience with people.
Sure. I think I crossed a threshold where it started to become more something that I sought out.
Yeah.
And I think even through the discomfort, there was things to look back on positively.
Yeah.
That made me by the end of the week, I was sad to go home.
Right. There's something about it. And that's what I loved about some of my beginner memories of being in the outdoors is I don't think I had fun the whole time, but it's almost like the duality of having both the discomfort and moments of wow, I just did that, or moments of awe. In the mix of that, you kind of come out and you're like, that was amazing. Can I do that again? Or you feel changed as a person. And I think that's what kind of keeps me coming back to this, type 2 fun activities where we might not be having the most incredible time throughout the whole trip or experience, but the moments of discomfort and overcoming that discomfort or even overcoming fears kind of ends up leaving you with this personal confidence, confidence that you can bring into the outdoors, but also confidence that maybe you brought into life in general, right?
Totally. And I think that's we can get into, and we will get into
Sure.
just our philosophy around like this type of challenge and connection that brings you into a deeper level of understanding being a human, and is essential. And I think my trajectory was like being a camper, being a counselor in training, moving out to Tennessee, being a counselor in the Smoky Mountains, which was there was a lot of going out of my comfort zone, because just the heat and humidity of the summer, bugs, bears, snakes can be very
Oh my.
gross. Bathhouses can be very challenging. But a lot of skills were learned there. And then my intentions to build upon those skills kind of snowballed after that.
Yeah, absolutely. So we hear it all the time. I'm not outdoorsy enough, or I can't keep up with the crowd. Well, listen, it couldn't be further from the truth. We both know that. But I'm curious about the common barriers that you have seen, those who are beginners or new to nature, that keep them from trying outdoor experiences.
So I have a lot of opinions about accessibility and barriers to outdoor activities. And I think some of the highest barriers across the board for outdoor sports and activities is just cost of entry and information. Mm-hmm. And compared to like skiing, hiking is a pretty low cost of entry. If you're looking at hiking from the lens of Instagram, you might see like, oh, I need these kinds of shoes. Oh, I need this backpack. I need these hiking shorts. I need this Cotopaxi hat, which I have and love. But you don't need any of those things, you know? And then also the information, you know, of like, which there's a lot of it out there. Mm-hmm. And I think what we're trying to do is highlight that information of like, even just where to hike, where is it safe to hike, even the barriers of like going out alone and knowing how to do it safely. I could go on and on and on. I used to work for REI, so I got to be on the front lines of how much it costs to like, how much you can spend on the outdoors, you know? And I love talking about all that stuff, but I also want to be on the other side of it and bring people in for free, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And that was definitely a personal barrier for me in the sense that I, wanted to get into hiking while I was still living in South Florida. So the information I had was from the national parks websites, which I am a doer, not a reader. So I'm not going to say I didn't read the information. I just think it went in one ear and out the other, or in one eye. You know what I'm trying to say. Yeah. And so, all I had was like a distant uncle that, has some old Facebook market gear and gave me some real bland advice. I went to Dick's Sporting Goods, which, then I saw the cost of some of those things there. And I'm like, I don't know if this is made for me. I definitely had a goofy, clumsy entrance into the outdoors. It's still pretty goofy and clumsy because that's just natural for me. But overall, it's hard for me to want to suggest and recommend gear knowing that you may or may not need it because I know I didn't have it. Mm-hmm. And it's been only in the last 2 years I really started investing in better shoes. I started investing in better clothes. But I was fine for a long time wearing all of my long sleeves at once while hiking in wintertime. Mm-hmm. Getting a puffer that eliminates all of that has been awesome. But when I first started out looking into the outdoors, I didn't have $280 to spend on an Arc'teryx. And mind you, my Arc'teryx puffer is absolutely phenomenal. But I feel like I worked towards it. And totally. Even in, gear shops, I see that it's easy for people to want to get the top of the line items, backpacks, jackets, all that. And what I always tend to say is if you haven't done the grueling rite of passage backpacking trip where you're wearing a backpack that's not the right size, you forgot your lighter, you thought canned beans is what you eat when you're hiking and camping, and you didn't realize the weight was going to be insane. If you haven't done that, then you don't know what problem some of this more technical gear is even solving. So I do want to urge those that are curious to always just do it with what you have. I think hiking with a JanSport is totally fine, and using your beat up sneakers, whatever's going to get you there, get there, just do it because it's not necessarily necessary. But, there's other barriers too that we've talked about a ton of times that aren't just in that easy to grab layer of conversation. There's topics of like just overall fear, like emotional fear that exists. And I know for me as a first generation American, where my mom came from, the bad people lived in the woods. So when I told her I started venturing into the woods, I got no support from that angle. And so that fear was in me as well. Like, who's going to come around the corner? Who's going to pop up behind that tree? And that has still never happened, which if it did, it'd make for a great story. But, the fears that I had still haven't happened. They're valid, they're real. But can you talk to me about some of those fears that you had as well? Those real fears.
I think for me, I still have a lot of those fears. I've had a lot of those fears. And some of those things have actually come up and I've had to work through them. I haven't had the like boogeyman in the woods, which I'm grateful I haven't had yet. No, knock on wood. But, I'm way more comfortable around bears in the woods because I've been around bears in the woods. But it's gone from thinking they're around every single corner, having to have bear spray on me at all times, to hoping I see a bear on the trail. Yeah. I am going to have bear spray on me. I'm going to talk with my group. I'm going to plan ahead personally how I would interact if I see a bear. But it's not this debilitating fear anymore that's keeping me out of the woods. And I'm also able to help talk through folks with me who are where I was on the fear scale. Part of getting over that fear has been living in Asheville when I had like bears in my backyard twice a week. Your comfort zone will expand over time just by being outside.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So what I really value about these guided experiences is that they're like a walking classroom in the best way possible. Can you let us know what specific skills do you feel folks are going to walk away with after doing an intro to backpacking trip like this?
Yeah, my hope is that everyone will walk away with some more outdoor competency and some encouragement to get back out there, either on their own or another group trip like this. But really practical skills-wise, some basic navigation and map reading, some map and compass, and all the practical things like setting up your tent, setting up camp, setting up your own sleep system, how to pack a backpack, walking with trekking poles, how to adjust your backpack, a lot of practical things you don't think about until you're really out there. But the goal is to just steward people into this experience and make this as enjoyable as possible for them, so that they can walk away having learned something and with more confidence to go out and do it again. Also, having food planned out for you for a trip like this is a big deal. Yeah. So you learn a bit about how to pack your food, but also how to cook food, what's going to do well for you while you're hiking.
Yeah, and what I love is that you get to, actually put yourself in the body of a backpacker for just a moment. And even though you might not feel like you know what you're doing, when you're done with it, that sense of, yeah, I did that and I can do it lingers with you. And so for many people, they might get onto the intro of the backpacking trip with you and be like, oh, I can actually hike a lot more with this backpack. And that's what you're there to experience. You're there to see what your range is, because there's so many different bodies a hiker can embody, So it's so important to know what your threshold is so you can prep trips that are right for you. I personally am a lover of challenging, heavy pack, heavy trail miles trips, but I also love a quick overnight. 3 miles to the campsite, a couple miles back. We eat something yummy because I could pack more weights with shorter mileage. So, getting to know what type of trips they're going to want to do. This is a great way to learn that. For anyone listening who's maybe sitting, with their finger hovering over the sign up button, I get it. Maybe you've never spent a night in a tent. Maybe this is your first time even wearing a backpack like the ones we have. Brooks, what would you say to this person that needs a little bit, a nudge of encouragement?
Yeah, I can honestly guarantee that it'll be life-changing. Every backpacking trip, no matter how long, is a life-changing experience. I'll leave you with a story of my first backpacking trip, if you can even call it that, was like my junior year of high school. It was the last day of school, and I got like maybe 6 friends together, and we just looked up a loop trail, 4 miles in, 4 miles out. And there was a backpacking site. It was free. All we had to do was like sign up, put our name on the national park roster, so they knew we were out there. And yeah, I had like a Daykin backpack. Yeah, I slept in a $15 hammock, so it wasn't.
Been there.
Yeah. It wasn't the most comfortable, but it was something that we decided we're just going to do it, We did it safely. Nobody got hurt. Nothing bad happened, And I've been hooked on backpacking ever since. Yeah. And just because some friends and I said, we're just going to do it,
Brooks, thank you so much for taking the time to hang out with me today. We will hang out again. There's much more we have to say and that we want to talk about. We're so excited to be collaborating with Brooks, and he's going to be helping create some really awesome, useful content to hopefully try to get more people in the outdoors.
For sure. I'm really excited about this project and all things Lost Terrain.
Yeah, thanks. Hey, y'all, you can book this Intro to the Backpacking trip right on our website, www.lostterraintours.com. And it turns out the more time you spend in nature, the better your life is. So what are you waiting for?